Welcome to my reading wrap-up for 2022. I read 67 books in 2022. Decent. I definitely slowed down a lot when I started working at a bookstore, because then I started reading like ARCs and local authors' books, but I didn't always finish them. So I didn't count all the books that I didn't finish or like read half of or whatever. I only counted the books that I read from start to finish. And I have my 5-star reads over here, which you probably, if you watched my last video, then you saw my 5-star read video. They're on my 5-star read cart. And then I have these, and then I had a lot of books that I read on my phone, and then I had books that I checked out from the library or borrowed from friends, so I don't have a lot of the physical copies, but let's just get into it. So first, I started off my year with The Score, which is in the Briar U series, I want to say. I know it's in the Off-Campus by L. Kennedy series, but I'm pretty sure it's in like the Briar U like segment of that series. That was a 3-star. I liked it. It was good. It was just your average L. Kennedy book. It was fine. Then I read My Best Friend Got Me a Blind Date with a Book like with a candle last birthday / Christmas in 2021. And really cute. Love the candle, love the little teacup. Hated the book, gave it 0 stars. I don't have it anymore. I exchanged it at one of those little libraries, those little leave one, take one libraries. Peace and love. Hated it. Then I read The Fall, which is a book that I had on my bookshelf for many years, and it was one of those like, oh, I'll get around to it, and then after reading a terrible book, I was like, okay, we're gonna read it. Another 0-star read. Absolutely hated it. I don't know why I kept reading it. I think I kept wanting it to get better and it just didn't, and it was so bad, and those are the only 2 0-star reads I have of the year, because usually around page 100 I'll decide if I want to like actually stick with it, and usually I don't if it's that bad. But oh, by the way, my 0-star from the Blind Date with a Book was me, Earl, and the Dying Girl. Just didn't like it at all. Then I read, because Normal People, the show came out, so I read the book. It was fine. It was a 3-star. It's fine, you know? Some people, it's like their favorite book. They really enjoyed it. It was fine. It genuinely is about normal people, and it was fine. Like, that's the only word I can describe it as. The show, so good. Love the show. Yeah. I honestly kind of wish I watched the show before the book, and that's like something I never do. But I think the book would have hit harder if I watched the show before, because the show is really good. Anywho, then I reread for the 4th or 5th time the Hush Hush series. I really enjoyed the first one. It is on my 5-star read cart. So good. Loved it. Then they slowly decreased. The second one was 3 stars. The third one was 2 stars. And then the last one was 3 stars. Just didn't love them. They were really cliche. I talked about them in my 5-star reads briefly, just because the first one is a banger, and then just not. They'd get worse. Anyhow. Then things started looking up. You know, I read Hush Hush, that was a 5-star read, and then I read these, and I'm like, ugh, these are so nostalgic for me. They used to all be 5-star reads and then they weren't. And I'm not gonna lie, I started my year not reading great books. So then I turned to Elle Kennedy, because my girlie, she always has me. She has my back. And I read The Goal, which I think is the 4th book in the off-campus series. So maybe The Score is the 3rd book in the off-campus. I don't know. Okay. But I read The Goal. That was a 4-star read. I love Tucker. I'm not a pregnancy trope girly. Like, as soon as a girl gets pregnant in a book, I usually, boom, done. But I really liked how it was done in this book, and this was finally a book that was like, oh, finally, I'm reading a good book. Then I read The Sixth Extinction. I read a chapter of this in my first year of college, because we all had to pick like a chapter to do a project on. And I just wanted some nonfiction because I was honestly kind of tired of the fiction just letting me down over and over again. So I read this. It is really good, really eye-opening. If you're really into science, you would really like it. I'm not into science and I liked it. I gave it a 3-star. It just makes you think. It was a nice break from the disappointing fiction. Because a 3-star nonfiction is a lot harder to achieve than a 3-star fiction, because I'm not a nonfiction girly. Then I read the Summer I Turned Pretty series. This is the first one. This is the only one I own because I hate the other two. Hate is such a strong word. I don't like the other two. The first one is my favorite. This is a 5-star read. And then the second one's a 3-star read. The last one's a 2-star read. I just don't like the other two, but this one is so beautiful. So good. I don't want to go on too much because I did just talk about it in my last video, but really good. And then I read The Legacy, which is the like 5th book in the off-campus series. It's like a novella kind of checking in on the couples, the 4 main couples, a couple years after graduation. It was fine. I gave it a 3-star. It was good, really good in some points, and then other points it was just really not good. Like Tucker's story, Tucker and Sabrina's story was just like really not good. Like, I think it was supposed to be funny, but I didn't read it as funny. It was like they went on a honeymoon and everything that could have gone wrong went wrong. And that's just like, I don't know, I just didn't. The magic of Elle Kennedy books is just like, just the right amount of realism and like not real. I don't know, it's like the perfect amount of fairy tale romance and real. And this was like it was too much. Then I did this little challenge to just go into the library and just pick out a random book and read it cover to cover. So I picked up In Every Mirror She's Black. I gave it a 2 stars. It was so depressing. It was literally one of the most depressing books I've read. And this is coming from a girly who enjoys Catcher in the Rye and who enjoys It's a Wonderful Life every Christmas. Like, this is such a depressing book. And that's just, it wasn't what I needed at that time. I really, like, it was so depressing. It was very, like, it was dealing with real issues that we deal with in our society. But it was so depressing. So then I read the Harry Potter play, Harry Potter and the Cursed Child. It was fine. Gave it a 2 star. Harry was literally like 30 or 40 and he still was acting like his teenage self, which was not cool. I didn't like Harry in the original books and I still don't like him as an adult. Then I read this book I can't believe I'm saying I read this book for college and this was like last year. That is so insane that I like was in college last year. Anyhow, The Boy Who Was Raised as a Dog. I read this for my child psychiatry class. It's really good. I gave it a 3 star. There's another book that he wrote called What Happened to You, and he wrote it with Oprah Winfrey. and I really want, like, that is on my TBR. I just need to be in the perfect headspace for it because it deals with trauma, and it's like childhood trauma and growing into like adult trauma, and it's just like, it's a very heavy book. Everybody that's read it is like, it is so heavy. This was a pretty heavy book as well, but I'm glad that I read it. Spring break, I made it my mission to read as much as possible. I had no homework, no books to read for school, nothing, and so I wanted to read the most banging books I could. So I had books set aside for this week to make sure that I could give my undivided attention to these books. First book I read, Good Girl Complex. It wasn't my 5-star reads. It's such a good book. Kennedy does it again. Mwah. Can't wait for the third one. The second one is so good too. And then I read the ACOTAR series. I've talked about it multiple times in my videos. You can see them right here. They're tucked in nice and tight. So good. It's my favorite series. What more is there to say? If you haven't read them, read them. It's my favorite series. It makes me feel whole, safe, warm, cozy, everything. Then I read a book my mom recommended to me, Every 15 Minutes by Lisa Scottolini. I always say Scottolini because that's just fun. That was a really good book. It was a really good thriller. I'm not a big thriller girly, but I appreciate a good thriller. Gave it a 3 stars. Yeah. Then I read Because of Low. This was a book that my best friend recommended to me. Because of Low, Abby Glines. She's a big Abby Glines girly. I liked it. It was really, like, it was your average romance book. 3 stars. Then I read Touch of Darkness. 3 stars. But it was like really good. Like, it had 5-star potential. There were so many like little bits of 5-star moments in there, and honestly I've thought about that book like a decent amount since I read it. So like I could, if I wanted to, move it up to a 4-star. Like it definitely is like a 3.5, teetering on a 4-star. Like it was good, you know, like it was decent. And I read The Chase. This is definitely in the Briar U series. I think. No, I think it's definitely. Yeah, it's in the Briar U series. By L. Kennedy. Give it a 2-star. Didn't like the guy. The one thing I love about L. Kennedy books is the guys are always groveling for the girlies. That was not the case in this book. He wanted nothing to do with her. She was chasing after him. Not chill. Don't like that. No. Then I read The Last House on the Street. This book was so good. Like, so good. If you haven't read it, you should definitely read it. It was so good. It was a 4-star read. I just really enjoyed it. It was like based in the civil rights movement era in North Carolina, and it was so good. Like I just really enjoyed it. And there was like a little bit of a romance and a decent amount of like drama and thriller-esque-ness in it, and it was just Then I read the Sweet Evil series. I won't show you the covers because I showed you the covers in my 5-star reads video, and I just don't like them. They're atrocious, and I only want them because they are 5-star reads. I've read them multiple times. They never disappoint. Then I read Fallen Too Far, Never Too Far, and Twisted Perfection. These are all Abby Glines books. I read these at the beach. They're good, just like simple, fast-paced beach reads. Gave them Fallen Too Far and Twisted Perfection I gave 3 stars. Never Too Far I gave 2 stars. Didn't love that one as much, but that typically is how romance books go for me. Like towards the end when like I like the lead up to it in the like beginning stages, and then it's usually ends in a pregnancy, and then like, okay, well, then pregnancy or marriage, you can't end any other way. Then also on the beach, I found one of these little babies at one of those free libraries, and so I'm like, well, duh, I have to read it. So I read it. It was really good. This was my first Emily Henry experience. I really enjoyed it. I did give it a 3 stars. I just love Emily Henry banter, and I love a friends to lovers moment if it's done right, and this was not done right. They should have just stayed friends. The ending felt very forced and rushed, and they're like, okay, well, we'll get together. I'm like, well. So that was a little disappointing, but then I read Simple Perfection. This is Abby Glance as well. Gave it a 2 star. It was fine. I digress. Then I read This Banger. 5-star read, my favorite book I've ever read. If you haven't read it, read it. I'm terrible at describing this book when people ask what it's about. I gave it my best try in my last video, but genuinely just read it. If you haven't read it, you will enjoy it. Well, I hope you enjoy it. I hope you enjoy it. I just feel like everybody needs to read this. Period. Goodbye. The play. I read a lot of Elle Kennedy this year, and I'm not mad about it. I read the play, 3 stars. Your average Elle Kennedy book. Like, what more is there to say? Then I took a little non-fiction break. I read Hungary. This is about the Menendez brothers trial. Gave it a 4 star. Very hard hitting. If you're interested in the trial, I would definitely read this. It's literally a diary from one of the jurors. She did like my post on Instagram. She did like my review on Goodreads. Yeah. Really good. Really hard hitting though. Then I read The Architect. That's all I'll say. I did give it a 3 stars. Then I read the Shatter Me series. This has been going around like crazy for millennia, it feels like. So I finally dug into it, and I really enjoyed it. Shatter Me, I gave a 4 star. Destroy Me, 4 star. Unravel Me, 3 star. Full Fracture Me, I give a 2 star because that was Adam's POV, and I always hated Adam. I was always a Warner girl from day one. I hated Adam. Still do. Ignite Me, I gave a 4 star as well. So on average, a 4 star series. I really enjoyed it. I'm glad that I read it. I'm gonna be honest, TikTok hyped it up a little too much. Then I read Eyes on Me. This is a Sarah Kate moment. This was my first Sarah Kate experience. I will be reading all of her books. 3 stars. I think about it a lot, so it could be moving up to a 4 star. That's all I'm gonna say. Goodbye. Then I read Book Lovers. Yeah, this is my favorite Emily Henry book. It's a 4 stars. It's just so good. We have a publisher, we have an editor in small town North Carolina for a little vacation. I mean, banging. It's just so good. And then I read Misfit, and this is the new prep series from Elle Kennedy. I went in with such high expectations. Like, I bought this on release day. I was like, girly, it is Elle Kennedy. We are gonna love it. Because let me give you the premise. And by all means, read it if it sounds interesting to you. Because it was fine. It was a 3 stars. Like, it's fine, you know? But it just didn't, like, hit me. Like it should have. Girly, her dad is the headmaster for an all-boys prep school. so she has to live on campus with all the guys. How did that not turn out so beautiful? But it's like, it's fine. It just didn't hit me like Al Kennedy books usually do. There's the third book out, or coming out soon. Didn't read the second one, not reading the third. Done with that series. Then I got onto the Coho train. Hate me, beat me up, whatever. I know she's overhyped. I know people are very polarized about, like, they either hate her or they love her. I love her writing. I love her writing, okay? Because here's the tea. You always know what you're gonna get with her. And that's what I love. I love a stable author. Okay, I love that I can always pick up her books and it's a banger. So I started with Ugly Love, the classic. I don't know what her like main book is. I feel like It Ends With Us might be her main book. But I read Ugly Love, gave it 3 stars. It was really good. November 9, I gave 4 stars. I wish they would make a show out of that, because that is so good. Like, I love November 9. It is so good. I think about that one quite a bit. And then I read Reminders of Him. That one is a very depressing one. It is very good. I gave it 3 stars. But it is just like a touch depressing. You're not getting a little lighthearted hee romance with that. Like, that is heavy. Then I read It Ends With Us. 4-star read. I could give it 5 stars, but some of it is really hard hitting, and I am Team Atlas. I love him. That is my favorite Coho book. I hate to say it because it's literally like the most basic Coho book in the world, but it is my favorite. I love Atlas so much. Then I read Confess. That one is good. I give it 4 stars. I feel like people either love that one or hate that one. I really liked it. I really liked their relationship. I really liked the idea of the confessions and making art out of the confessions. I really liked it. And then I read All Your Perfects. That's the book that I tell everybody that I don't know well enough yet. I tell them that's my favorite Coho book. That's 4 stars. It is my second favorite book, or third if you count It Starts With Us, because that one's so good as well. But I really liked All Your Perfects, even though it deals with pregnancy. Now, I usually don't like to read books about pregnancy, but just their relationship in it is just like so raw and real, and I really appreciate that. And then I read Heartbones. That one was pretty good. I gave that 3 stars. That was probably the only Coho book that like took me a while. That probably took me like a week to read, and that's very slow for Coho. Coho's usually a day or 2. I also just realized I've been saying Coho this whole time. Colleen Hoover. That is so gross of me to be Coho. Anyhow, now we're off the Colleen Hoover, and we moved on to Every Summer After by Carly Fortune. She's coming out with a new book in May. I want to say either April or May. I'm so excited for that. I will be reading that. Meet Me at the Lake is her new one. Every Summer After was just your classic summer book. It is the perfect beach read. Gobbled that baby up in literally, I think it was a day, if not a day and a half. Like, it was so good. 4 stars. Absolutely loved it. Then I read Beach Read by Emily Henry. I was so excited for this because my best friend loved it. I gave it 2 stars. It was too similar to Book Lovers, but it also just didn't like go anywhere. Like, I was bored. It was boring. It was a boring book. I'm sorry. It was boring. Then I got back on my Sarah Kate grind, and I read Praise and Give Me More. Those are both some 4-star reads. All I'm gonna say, love ya, love you, Sarah Kate. Then I started the Twisted series, Twisted Love. This was a really good one. Alex, the main guy, is a little bit possessive and not in a cool way, and like a little bit, can you just leave me alone, please? Money doesn't actually make you the boss of me. So I did give that one a 3 stars just because Alex was a bit much, and also like in the second book, he's not friends with anybody. Like he straight up is, like I do appreciate a grumpy sunshine moment, and also like I hate everyone in the world but you, but like he genuinely has no friends. Like he only cares about Eva. Whatever. What happened to the Bennets? That was a 2-star read for me. I liked it. I think, okay, so my main holdups with this book were the main character was a man, and so I find this hard to relate to. And then also, it just took me a while to read it, and I feel like if a book takes me more than a week to read, it can't be more than, like 3-star would be max, but it usually is like a 2-star, because if I'm not just like gobbling that book up, then I read Twisted Games in my 5-star reads video. Love ya. Mwah. Then I read It Starts With Us. I love it. I love it so much. It was exactly what Lily deserved. Like Lily and Atlas had their moment, and I'm just so happy about it. Give it 4 stars. It is so good. I read Carrie Soto Is Back. This is my first Taylor Jenkins Reid book. My mom recommended it to me. I started it. I was a little skewed. The first 50 pages were like so tennis jargon heavy. I can't be doing this crap. I literally was like counting down the pages because page 100 is when I make my decision. I'm reading the reviews on Goodreads. They're all good, and I'm like, I'm gonna give it my best shot. So then by like page 60, 70, it's banging. It's banging. I literally read it in 2 nights. I could not put it down. I could not put it down. It was one of those, like, one more chapter, and I just couldn't, and then I was like, oh shoot, I just read 5 chapters, well, might as well just keep on reading. It was so good. So good. And I need to pick up more of her books. I just don't know where to go next after Carrie Soto's back, because all the girlies that are coming into the shop that have read it have been like, this is literally her best book, so. And I read The Naughty List by Sarah Kate. Again, a little Christmas moment. 4 stars. Love Sarah Kate. Then I read My Life Next Door. This is another 5-star read. The cover is atrocious, but I love it so much. Talked about it in my 5-star reads video. It's so good. Perfect amount of romance and a little bit of drama, a little plot twist at the end. So good. Then I finished my year with Bad Girl Reputation, which is the 2nd book in the Good Girl Complex series, and it did not disappoint. I gave it a 4 stars. It was so good. Read it in 2 days. And that's all I got for you. That's my books. I tried to go through fast because, yeah. I'm also seeing a lot of girlies on YouTube right now that are like, yeah, the 300 books I read this past year. Girly. That's literally a book a day. Consecutively. Like, I'm not reading a book a day unless it's banging. But anyhow, hope you enjoyed. Hopefully you found some new books to check out. Yeah. I feel like I started the year with terrible books and ended with banging books, which is exactly what I needed. Hope you enjoyed. Love you. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.